Hey there folks, Graham here and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about double tracking guitars. What does it mean? Why do we do it? What does it sound like? And how do we do it? If that sounds good to you and you enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe at the end and ring that bell so you'll be notified of new videos as I post them. It really is appreciated. Oh, and before I forget, make sure you're listening to this video on headphones or good stereo monitors so you can really hear the difference in your left and right ears. Very important for this video. Now, without further ado, let's roll titles and dive straight in. So, firstly, what is double tracking and why do we do it? Basically, it means to record the same part twice, each to an individual audio track, and then pan one left and one right to get a fuller sound across the stereo field. It's a technique widely used in both the rock and metal genres, but also used elsewhere in music production. How do you do it, I hear you ask? There are two ways in which you can double track guitars, one being the proper way and one being an emulation that you can achieve using your DAW or DAW software. I, for example, am using Cubase in this instance. The proper way would be to record the required guitar part to a single mono audio track and then physically play and record the same part again to a separate audio track, playing as closely as possible to the original that you played. Each of these tracks is then panned left and right to create a wide stereo spread, capturing all the nuances and dynamics of each of the two individual performances. For example, in each of the performances, the guitarist will never be absolutely perfectly on time in the second play as he was in the first play. The chords may have been hit slightly harder, there may be a little bit more sustain on some of the chords, etc., but there will always be subtle differences. The end result is what you hear in your left ear will be slightly different to what you hear in your right ear, adding depth and width to the sound. Now, I'm very new to playing guitar. As you can see, I'm predominantly a synthesizer keyboard player. However, as you'll see up on the wall, I do have a Squier Affinity Stratocaster, which I'm currently learning to play. However, I haven't quite mastered the art yet of perfectly replicating a guitar part 2 times on the trot. So I came across this simple workaround that you can use in your DAW. It works in pretty much any DAW. I'm using, as I said earlier, Cubase in this example. This workaround emulates the double tracking of the guitar without having to physically play and record the part twice. To demonstrate this, I've got 2 guitar tracks here from a song that I'm currently working on. The first, in green, is the actual physical guitar part that I played and recorded. I then duplicated this track in Cubase to create the red track that you'll see below. So this gives an identical copy of the track that I previously played and recorded. And for those that don't know how to do this, it's very, very simple. You would just right click on the original audio track and choose duplicate tracks from the drop down menu, and this would create your second track. I've then color coded these for ease of use in this video. Now, let's see what they sound like. Here's the original mono audio track that I recorded from my guitar performance. And now here's the original track and the duplicated track playing together, but both of them are centered. And And now I'm going to pan one track to the left and one track to the right. So if I come down here to my mixer, I'll move the first track over to the left and the second track over to the right. And now we'll play them again. As you can hear, there's no real audible difference yet. And that's because we're missing a single piece, and that is to apply a delay to one of the audio tracks. So here in the DAW, you'll see I've inserted an effect onto one of the audio tracks. This is just a standard mono delay. That's one of the effects available within Cubase. There'll be similar effects available in whichever DAW you may be using. Now I have the delay set up here with the low filter all the way down, the high filter all the way up. You could actually turn these off. The delay is set at 20 milliseconds. I would only recommend 20 to 30 milliseconds here. After that, it all starts getting very messy with a heavy delay and will make your guitars sound muddled. I've got the feedback turned down to 0 and the wetness up to 100%, which means you can hear fully the effect of this delay. Now with the delay added, you should hear a marked difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the track through once again without the delay. Then I'm going to play it a second time with the delay turned on, and then I'll A/B comparison as it plays through, so you can really start to hear the difference. And don't forget, if you're not already, make sure you're listening on headphones for this so you can really hear the difference between your left and right ears. So here's the two tracks again without the delay. And now I'm going to turn on the delay that we set earlier to one of the tracks. And here's what it sounds like with the delay. And now I'm going to A/B comparison as it's playing through. So I shall start without the delay and then bring the delay in and then turn it on and off throughout so you can really get to hear the effect. Delay on. Delay off. Delay on. Off, on, off, on, off, and the delay back on. So I think hopefully you'd agree that double tracking definitely makes a difference to the sound. But do you have to double track your guitars? No, you don't have to. Example, for solo work, you really want that guitar solo to cut through the middle of the mix, and so you wouldn't double track it. But for rhythm guitar, power chords, etc., then yes, you probably would. It all depends on the sound that you're looking for. And at the end of the day, it's just another trick up your music production sleeve that you can employ as and when you need it. Just as a quick recap then, step 1, play and record your guitar part. Step 2, duplicate that guitar part in your DAW. Step 3, pan them left and one track right. And then the final step is apply a delay to one of the tracks. It doesn't matter whether it's the left or the right track, you just apply a delay to one of the tracks of around 20 to 30 milliseconds. And that's how you can double track guitars. It's not necessarily the proper way, and it doesn't capture all those little nuances of two individual performances, but by employing this delay technique it does give you that stereo impact and that fuller, bigger guitar sound that you may be looking for. And for me, I must say, it suits my purposes until I get a little bit better at playing the Strat that I have on the wall over there. Well, that's all for now, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to subscribe. It really is appreciated. But for now, I've been Graham Challis, and I hope to see you again next time here on Splooty Vision.